I'm about to walk you through how to create a predictable flywheel system for getting clients and why exactly you need one. So first things first, if you don't have predictability or sustainability in your business, then life is very, very stressful. You're always looking for how you're going to get your next client, how you're going to pay your rent, how you're going to make money. It's not a way to live. Okay, it's better to, work a normal job than, running a business and not knowing where your next dollar is going to come from. And so here are the different ingredients and concepts you need to understand in order to implement predictability and sustainability in your business. The first concept you need to understand is supply and demand. Supply and demand creates wealth. High demand for scarce goods or services means higher prices and profits, like a skill or a hot new product. Okay, to simply put it, low supply and high demand equals wealth. Okay, and so this basically means you need to simply validate your demand for your offer and see if it's something that people actually want. Because if you're, no matter what systems, no matter what type of personal brand, actually if you have a big personal brand, then you can pretty much sell anything. But most of the times, if people don't want what you're actually selling, then it doesn't matter what systems you have in place or what you're doing. Because at the end of the day, the reason why businesses exist is to solve problems and creates value. Okay, and so having a unique solution that solves a very painful problem creates high demand in and of itself. But how do you actually charge lots of money for it? Well, you need a couple: high demand and high value. Okay, and so if you're not familiar with Hormozzi's value equation, basically says to craft value, he operationalized what value means. It basically means that you need to increase the dream outcome. So if people buy your product or service, do they actually have a chance of achieving their dream outcome, their desired situation, the perceived likelihood of achievement? What is the likelihood that they're going to actually be able to achieve it? And then also getting them there quickly and getting them there with low effort and sacrifice. And the more of the factors you add on the top and the more you mitigate the factors on the bottom, the more valuable by definition, by Hormozzi's definition, your product or service is. Okay, and so one of the underlying principles of capitalism is that creating value in the world today is hard and takes effort. If we lived in a world where anyone or anything could create value and solve all the problems with no effort, then it would be difficult to create something that separates you from everyone else. And so people buy things because they want to achieve a specific outcome. The reason why people will buy your thing instead of other people's thing is because the perceived value of your thing is higher. You never want to compete on price. Competing on price is a race to the bottom. And so there's one catch: it's not easy to make an extremely valuable product. And here are some of the factors needed to make a product extremely valuable. Okay, so it's the 4 value equation factors that we talked about up here. It's having efficiency, so having an efficient product, having A players that fulfill your product for you, because as the founder, realistically, you want to outsource yourself from fulfillment as early on as possible and focus on high leverage things that move the business forward. A legendary backend system: you want to make sure your entire fulfillment is systemized like a conveyor belt on a factory, where you know everything that happens at each stage, and you just need people to do it for you, or systems in place that do it and automate the process for you. Acting off of tons of data, collecting data and seeing what works and what doesn't, and reiterating and getting that feedback loop to improve your product, which I'm going to talk about later on in this video, is huge, and it's definitely important to improving your product to make the likelihood of your clients getting good results more probable. And also tracking everything, basically the same thing. And the secret to making your product more valuable than everyone else is doing something unscalable at scale. If you can crack that, and that's something that AI is going to unlock for a lot of factors. For example, AI now allows personalization to be done at scale. And so if you can crack these things and doing unscalable things at scale, then the competition stands no chance. But everyone's too lazy to do it, and that's why it's so easy to win nowadays if you play the game the right way. And so making your product truly valuable will naturally increase demand. But what is the true biggest catalyst for demand? It's trends. Okay, and so big trends create demand by changing what people want and need, pushing businesses to offer new solutions to match those shifts. Brad Jacobs, he's a CEO of a few companies. He's worth over $8 billion. He said you can mess up a lot of things in business and still do well as long as you get the big trend right. Okay, so catching on a trend, it's like a wave. Okay, you can either choose to swim against the wave and drown, or swim with the wave and rise and elevate above everyone else. It's simply put it. And so what is the biggest trend right now? It's AI, by far. Okay, it's so obvious. And so AI is estimated to add around $15.7 trillion of value to the global economy by 2030. And just to put that into perspective for you, by 2020, the internet added $10 trillion to the global economy. By 2030, AI is estimated, and I think this is a study done by McKinsey, AI is estimated to add around $15.7 trillion, which is absolutely massive. It's a tectonic shift. It's a new industrial revolution. Okay. And so that's the first thing I want to talk about is creating demand. Okay. And some of the things for demand is making your product truly valuable and riding big trends that come. And right now, the biggest trend is AI. The next thing I want to talk about is the larger market formula. This is the second concept that you need to understand. Okay. What is the larger market formula? It basically says that in any given market, 3% of the people are in buy now mode. Okay. 17% of the people are in information gathering mode. 20% of the people are in problem aware mode, and 60% of people are not problem aware. Okay. And so you need to understand, you need to get specific on who you're targeting, and you need to know exactly who you're chasing. Okay. Because different levels, so different levels of warmth requires different levels of marketing and more nurturing. Okay. So for example, if you're targeting the top of the pyramid, which is the 3% of people who are in buy now mode, which is a very competitive percentage to target, you need to hit them with hard offers. Okay. So doing direct response marketing is, only viable if you're going right after the 3% of people who are in buy now mode. So the rest of the people, they're all going to need education and nurturing. You need to educate them that they have a problem and how to solve it. And you need to nurture them. You need to position yourself as an authority figure who's trying to help them, not a marketer trying to sell them. Okay. And so, obviously these people are going to need more education and more nurturing than these people, but it's the same game. Okay. You're playing the same game for all levels, just not for the 3%. For them, you're just hitting them with hard hitting offers, guarantees, just, direct response marketing. And so, you need to have clarity on which segment of the market you're targeting. If you're targeting the 3% of the market that's ready to buy, then you need to hit them with direct offers and direct call to actions. If you're targeting the rest of the 97% of the market, then you need to have systems and content in place where you're nurturing and warming them up within your ecosystem. And so how do you systematically get clients? Well, there's three layers of it, and these are the things you need to have systemized. Okay. The first thing is the attention. So how you're getting attention. Have you systemized the way you're getting attention? Nurture. So how you're nurturing all your leads. Are you nurturing all your leads and grouping them into one ecosystem, centralizing them into one place where they can just focus on your messaging and conversion events? Okay. How are you converting these leads, and when are you converting these leads? These are all things super important. If you want to get clients predictably, where your next client's going to come from, then you need to have these three things systemized. Okay. When it comes to attention, you can either grow organically through content and a personal brand, which is increasingly more important in 2025 than it ever has been in the past, because just the amount of noise, the amount of competition. You need to separate yourself, and growing a personal brand is such a cheat code. You need to implement it. Okay. And then also paid growth, organic growth, creating content and growing your personal brand. It takes time. Okay. And we all need to make money, I'm assuming, as quickly as possible. Ideally you want to make money quickly. And the way you do that is through running ads and putting gasoline on the fire. Okay, which is paid growth. And so once you're able to get attention, you need to be tracking how much attention you're getting every day, how many people hear about you and your business every day. You need to group and centralize all your leads in one place. That can either be an email ecosystem, a community ecosystem, or ideally both. Okay. The reason for this is because, once again, there's so much noise, and just centralizing them all in one place where you can position yourself as authority and get them to focus on your messaging, where you can nurture them over a long period of time. Because once again, not everyone is ready to buy right now. So you need to educate them. And the best way to do that is to get their attention and then send them to one place where they can focus on your messaging. And then once you have people who are ready to buy, you want to have a conversion event. And there's two types of conversion events you can have. Either one-to-many selling, which people position often as a webinar or a masterclass, where you hop on a live call. It can be pre-recorded, but it's better if it's live. You hop on a call with 200, 300, even more people at one time. You provide value, and then you pitch them on what you're selling at the end. So that way you have tons of people acting on your call to action at once. It's leverage. And then you have one-to-one selling, which you have all the people in your ecosystem, and you're reaching out to people, pitching them on a call, offering them, proposing to them to hop on a call with them, where you can, find their pain points, see what their scenario is, see what problems their business is having, and then you position yourself as an authority figure who's trying to help them with your product or service. Okay. And so these are the three things. It's extremely important to have these systemized. If you're just, one day you send 100 outreach messages, one day you post content, one day you try ads, you're never going to know where you're going to get your next client. So you need to first validate the demand of your offer. Ideally you want to be writing a trend. So, it's a catalyst for the demand. And then you need to have a systemized funnel, a systemized client acquisition machine of getting attention, nurturing your leads, and also converting them. Okay. So that way, where your next dollar is going to come from, and you're not worried about paying rent or stressing your ass off. Because if your business is unpredictable, then it's better off to get a job, bro. It's not worth the stress. Okay. And so here's a client acquisition flywheel, and on the organic and on the paid side of things. So when it comes to the organic flywheel, you post content and you send them to all one place to nurture. You convert them with a conversion event via one-to-many selling or one-to-one selling, and then you get them results. Results is such a huge aspect of this. Then in your content, you show those results. And so, because people want to see your journey, people want to see that you're actually someone with a business, that you're making money, that you're making your clients money, and that way they know that you're seen as more of an authority figure. Okay, so it all feeds into each other, and it's a feedback loop. When it comes to the paid side of things, it works the same way. You get ads, you nurture them in one place, or if you're just chasing the 3% of the market that's in buy now mode, you can just try to book them on a call ASAP. But I would only truly recommend direct response marketing in the beginning, okay? Because to be honest, chasing this top percentage of the pyramid, the 3% of the market, it's the quickest way to make money, since you're targeting people with the most pain levels and the people who are ready to buy right now. But in the long run, nurturing these people and educating them is going to make you more money in the long run, because everyone just needs instant gratifications, and most of the marketers are just chasing the top 3%, okay? So in the beginning, if you need money ASAP, then hit them with some direct response marketing, collect some money, and then focus on nurturing your audience, your leads, and converting them in the long run, okay? Because that's what's going to make you the most money in the long term. And so when it comes to the paid side of things, you have ads, you nurture them, you convert, you get results, and then from there you collect money. You can leverage your results in your ads, and you can also scale your ads, test new creatives, and just invest in the marketing flywheel, in the marketing system that you have in place. Okay, so that's huge. And so I want to talk about scaling your personal brand and what that looks like, because like I said, nowadays it has never been this important. Okay, it is so important to actually start creating content and just leave the instant gratification to the side and just focus on building a long-term brand, because a personal brand is not only going to become the biggest asset in your business, but it's going to become the biggest asset in your life. You can start any business once you have a brand. Once people know who you are, they'll buy anything off of you. Okay, look at Mr. Beast, look at Iman. Okay, Iman started with selling info products. Now he's selling glasses. Now he's selling energy drinks. He's investing in companies. Why? Because he created content. People know who he is, and he literally owns the world. Okay, he doesn't own the world, but you know what I mean. Like, he has a lot of power because people know who he is and they trust him, and he's provided a lot of value to people. And so how do you actually go about scaling your personal brand? It's split into 3 phases. Phase 1 is you want to focus on quantity. Okay, the basic overview of this is you want to build momentum and focus on improving. Okay, and you want to have improvement feedback loops. So you're just pushing out content rapid fire, focus on quantity, and I'd say once you get to 100 videos, look at what you've done, look at what you're doing bad, and try to improve something in every video. Because in the beginning, you're not going to know how to talk, how to create content, how to hook your audience, and how to provide real value, what type of value to provide. And so you just need to go through the cycle of creating content, failing, learning, and improving. Okay, go through that feedback loop as quickly as possible, so that way you can grow your business faster and you can grow your personal brand faster. Okay, so phase 1 is quantity, just creating content and learning. Okay, failing and learning and trying to improve. Phase 2 is once you've built up a following, maybe you've posted 100 long form videos, maybe less, maybe more. Once you've seen that you're starting to gain traction, then cut back on the quantity and start focusing more on quality. Okay, there's for example, you can post 3 videos per week, or no, let's say you post like 4 or 5 videos a week, which is a lot of long form videos. I'm talking specifically YouTube. So if you post 4 to 5 videos a week, and let's say each video gets 100 views, let's say that's 500 views. Okay, so you posted 5 videos a week, that's 500 views. If you cut back and you focus on creating 2 high quality videos per week, and each video gets 5,000, 10,000 views, then that's a few multiples more, that's a few magnitudes more than you just focusing on quantity. Okay, the leverage you have posting quality content instead of focusing on quantity, once you're actually in a place where you can focus on quality, is insane. Okay, so at a specific point, you want to cut back, you want to prioritize quality instead of quantity, because the leverage that comes from just posting 1 high quality video instead of a few mid to shitty ones is insane. Okay, and so that's phase 2, and phase 3 is expansion. Once you've really grown, once you've made a lot of money, then you can expand into different channels for different products and offers. Look at Iman. Okay, so Iman has his main channel where he pitches his low to mid ticket offers, like his info products, his courses. He has his lifestyle channel where he pitches where he mainly promotes his low ticket products like his energy drinks, his energy drinks and his glasses. And then he has his high ticket channel where he promotes his high ticket business products, where he charges like 18 to 20 grand, where he just gives advice that's purely that's only applicable to people with businesses. Okay, so he has 3 channels for 3 different price points. Okay, but you do not want to get this, in the wrong order. First, focus on quantity, so just improving and going through the feedback loop of failing and learning, and then cut back and focus on quality, and then and only then focus on expansion. Okay, once you add new products or new price points, then focus on expansion. Okay, and so that's how you implement a predictable marketing system. So that way you know where your next dollar is going to come from. That way you're not stressing always, how to make money, how to pay rent. And the biggest thing right now is just creating, validating demand, validating your offer, and hopping on the big trend, which right now is AI. And so the first link in the description is a free one-on-one AI value call with me, where I'll walk you through exactly what we're doing and how we're scaling our clients' AI agencies for them. So that way we can implement the same systems and processes into your business. Okay, thank you for watching this, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.